Cancer. There is a conversation that is on the schedule of today, although it does not yet have a clear time on the schedule, and although both parties to the conversation may not yet fully know that the conversation is what is approaching, I want to walk you through what is happening because the conversation is going to occur in a stretch of hours that is closer than you might expect. And the closer than expected quality of it is one of the features that will make it land with the weight it is going to land with. The conversation is not going to be arranged formally. It is going to occur because circumstances are aligning to produce a moment between you and another person in which the conversation becomes possible, and possibility in matters of this kind often becomes actuality very quickly once the conditions are right. I want to address what kind of conversation this is going to be, because there are many kinds of emotional face-to-face conversations, and they do not all serve the same function. The conversation that is approaching is the kind that opens something that has been closed. There has been something between you and this person that has not been articulated. Both of you have known, in your own ways, that the unarticulated thing was there. Neither of you has been ready to articulate it. The readiness has been forming gradually, and the readiness is now reaching the point where the articulation can occur. The conversation is the articulation. After the articulation, the situation between you will be in a different configuration than it has been. I want to share something specific about the timing today. The conversation is not on a schedule that you can control. You will not arrange it deliberately. It will arrive in the natural course of events, perhaps through a moment of mutual presence that does not initially announce itself as significant. The two of you will be in a context together, and something will shift in the texture of the interaction, and the shift will produce the opening through which the conversation moves. The opening will be brief. You will need to recognize it in the moment, or it will pass. Most likely, you will recognize it. The recognition is built into the moment. Your nervous system is already preparing for it, even though your conscious mind has not yet identified what is approaching. I want to describe the texture of how the conversation will begin. It will probably not begin with either of you saying anything dramatic. It will begin with one of you saying something slightly more personal than the situation requires. A comment that exposes a little more interiority than the social context would predict. A question that invites engagement at a deeper level than the conversation has been operating at. A piece of disclosure that, on its surface, is small, but that signals to the other person that the door is open. The other person will respond in a way that matches the level of the opening. The matching response will be the second step in the sequence. After the second step, the door is fully open, and the conversation will proceed into the substance that has been waiting to be addressed. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to take a moment to slow down here because I sense the prospect of a conversation of this kind may be producing some response in you. You may be wondering if you are ready. You may be wondering what you want to say. You may be wondering how the other person will receive what you say. The wondering is normal, but I want to gently suggest that you do not need to rehearse in advance. The conversation is going to proceed through its own natural movements, and any rehearsing you do will produce stilted contributions when the moment requires natural ones. So if you find yourself rehearsing, gently set down the rehearsal. The substance is in you. It will be available when the moment requires it. You do not need to construct it in advance. I want to address what I am sensing about the substance of what the conversation will involve. It will involve, on both sides, an admission of feeling. The feeling is not new. It has been present for some time. But the explicit acknowledgement of the feeling to each other has not yet occurred. The conversation will produce the acknowledgement. Each of you will say, in your own language, what you have been carrying. The saying will land for both of you. After the saying, the connection between you will have a quality of openness that it has not had before. The openness is one of the gifts of conversations of this kind. It is what allows the relationship to move into its next phase. I want to mention something about the emotional register of the conversation. It will not be all heavy. There will be moments of laughter alongside the moments of depth. The combination is one of the markers of authentic emotional exchange between people who actually know each other. Pure intensity, sustained for the duration of a conversation, is usually a sign of performance rather than substance. Authentic conversations move between registers. They have weight, but they also have lightness. The lightness is part of how the weight becomes bearable. You can expect this conversation to include both. The mixing is part of what will make it productive rather than overwhelming. I want to address something I am sensing about the other person's state going into the conversation. They have been preparing too, in their own way. They have been working through their own interior process related to you. The work has been gradual. By today, the work has reached the point where they are also ready to engage with what has been forming. They are not arriving at the conversation as an unaware party who is going to be surprised by the depth of what unfolds. They have been arriving at depth themselves. Their depth and yours will meet in the conversation in a way that produces understanding rather than miscommunication. I want to take a moment to share something about a particular dimension of the conversation that I think will surprise you in a positive way. The other person is going to say something to you that you have been wanting to hear without necessarily having articulated to yourself that you have been wanting to hear it. The thing they will say will address something specific, a particular truth about how they see you, a particular acknowledgement of something you have been doing or being, a particular recognition that you have been operating without sufficient visible appreciation for some time. The saying of this thing will land deeply in you. You may have a response that is more emotional than you would have predicted. Allow the response. It is appropriate to the magnitude of being acknowledged accurately. I want to share something about what you may want to say to them as well. You have things that you have been holding. Some of them are appreciations. Some of them are clarifications. Some of them are simply expressions of what they have meant to you. You may not have articulated these things to yourself in clear sentences, but they are present in you. When the conversation creates the space for them to be expressed, you may find that the sentences form themselves more easily than you would expect. The forming of sentences is a feature of how the right moment for a conversation produces the language that the conversation requires. You do not have to compose in advance. The composition will occur in the moment. I want to address a possible concern. There may be a part of you that worries that the conversation will go in a direction you do not want, that something will be said that produces a result you have been trying to avoid. I want to gently address this. The conversation that is approaching is not structured to produce harm. Both of you have been moving toward openness, not toward conflict. The substance that will emerge is substance that both of you have been wanting to have between you, even if neither of you has been able to articulate it until now. So the trajectory of the conversation will be in a direction that serves both of you. The serving may include some discomfort, as honest conversations often do, but the discomfort will be in service of the larger good of what is being established between you, not in service of any rupture or damage. I want to take a moment to talk about what to do in the period before the conversation today. You may have several hours before the moment occurs. Use the hours well. Continue your normal activities. Do not isolate yourself or strain to prepare. The preparation is happening internally on its own. Your role is simply to live the hours in a way that keeps you available to whatever circumstances produce the meeting. If you are excessively anxious in the hours before, the anxiety can interfere with your availability. If you are excessively distracted, you may miss the early moment of the opening. The right state is something like alert ease. Alert in the sense of being open to what arrives. Ease in the sense of not being braced or strained. The combination is what allows the conversation to find you in good condition when it begins. I want to share something about a small practice that may serve you in the period before. Take a moment at some point in the next few hours to consider what you would want this person to know about how you have experienced your connection with them. Not in a way that produces a script, just in a way that brings the substance of what you would want to communicate into more accessible form. The substance is already in you. The bringing into accessibility is what will allow the substance to flow naturally when the moment arrives. The accessibility is not the same as the speaking. The speaking will happen in its own way, but having the substance accessible makes the speaking easier. I want to mention something about how the conversation may unfold across its arc. It will probably have a beginning, where the opening occurs and the engagement at a deeper level is established. Then it will have a middle, where the substantive content is exchanged. Both of you will say what you have been holding in your own order, with your own emphases. Then it will have a closing, where the implications of what has been exchanged begin to be acknowledged. The closing may not resolve everything. Some implications may need additional conversations to be fully addressed, but the closing will produce a kind of completed first movement, after which both of you will need time to integrate what has occurred. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to address something about what happens after the conversation because the after period is significant. You may feel in the immediate aftermath a kind of soft disorientation. The disorientation is the natural response of your nervous system to having engaged in a conversation that has shifted something between you and another person. The shift is real. Your interior is adjusting to it. The disorientation will pass, probably within a few hours, possibly stretching to the following day. During the disorientation, do not make any major decisions. Do not assume that the slight unsettledness is a sign that something went wrong. It is just integration and process. Allow it to take its time. I want to share something about what kind of clarity will emerge after the integration. You will know after the conversation has had time to settle what your relationship to this person actually is. The not knowing that has characterized the previous period will be replaced by a clearer sense of the substance of what is between you. The clearer sense will inform your subsequent decisions. You may decide to deepen the connection. You may decide to maintain it at its current level. You may decide that the conversation has provided the closure you needed and that the relationship has reached its natural conclusion. All of these are possible outcomes. The conversation does not determine which one is right. It only produces the clarity that allows you to make the determination for yourself. I want to mention something specific about the possibility that the conversation produces a deepening rather than a closure. If the conversation moves the relationship into a deeper configuration, the deepening will not be the work of the single conversation alone. It will be the beginning of a process that continues over the following weeks and months. The continuing process will involve further conversations, further exchanges, further developments in how the two of you engage with each other. The single conversation today is one step in a longer arc, not the totality of the arc. So if the conversation goes well in the deepening direction, do not expect everything to be resolved in the single exchange. Expect the resolution to occur gradually through sustained engagement. I want to address the possibility that the conversation produces clarity that the relationship has reached a natural end. If this is the direction the conversation moves, the ending will be gentle. It will not involve dramatic rupture. It will involve a mutual acknowledgement that what was between you was real, that it produced what it was meant to produce, and that the time has come for both of you to move into the next chapters of your lives without each other as central figures. The ending, if it occurs, will be one of the kinder endings you have experienced. It will not damage you. It will free you. The freeing will be one of the gifts in a different form than the alternative gift of deepening. I want to take a moment to share something about your own readiness for whichever direction the conversation goes. You are ready. You have done the work that produces readiness for honest exchange. The work has included your interior processing of the situation, your continued growth in capacities of self-knowledge and self-trust, your willingness to engage with what is real rather than what is comfortable. The readiness is in you. You may not feel certain about specific outcomes, but you have what you need to navigate whatever outcome occurs. The capacity to navigate is yours. It does not depend on the outcome being any specific outcome. I want to share something about how to receive what is said to you, regardless of direction. Receive it with full attention. Do not filter what is being said through preconceptions about what you want or do not want to hear. The filtering would distort the receiving. The receiving needs to be accurate. Accurate receiving allows you to respond to what is actually being said, rather than to what you assumed would be said. The accuracy is the foundation of an honest conversation. Your contribution to the conversation includes maintaining accurate receiving even when what is being said is unexpected or complex. I want to mention something about how to communicate what you want to say. Speak slowly enough to be understood. People in emotional conversations sometimes speak quickly, partly from nervousness, partly from a sense that the moment is fragile and the speaking needs to be completed before the moment passes. The speed can produce miscommunication. A slightly slower pace gives the other person time to absorb what you are saying. It also gives you time to choose your words with care. The slowness is not awkward. It is appropriate to the weight of the conversation. Both of you will be operating at a slightly slower pace than ordinary conversation, and the slowness will support the depth. I want to share an orientation about how to handle pauses in the conversation. There will be pauses. Some pauses will be brief, some will be longer. The pauses are not awkward silences. They are spaces in which what has been said can land, in which the next thing to say can form, in which the depth of the conversation can be felt. Do not rush to fill the pauses. Allow them. The allowing produces a different quality of conversation than the rushing would produce. The other person will likely be allowing the pauses as well. The mutual allowance is one of the markers of a conversation that is operating well. I want to address a particular feeling that may arise during the conversation. You may at moments feel emotionally overwhelmed. The overwhelm is not a problem. It is an appropriate response to a conversation that is touching on substantial matters. If you feel overwhelmed, you do not need to pretend that you do not. You can say, in whatever language is comfortable for you, that you need a moment. The other person will understand. Asking for a moment, when you need one, is part of how honest conversations sustain themselves. Pretending to be more composed than you are can produce a kind of falseness that compromises the honesty. Better to acknowledge the overwhelm and take the moment than to push through it. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to share something about the broader significance of this conversation in your life. Conversations of this kind, when they occur and are handled well, become reference points for the relationships that follow. You will remember this conversation, perhaps for years. You will reference it in your own mind when you encounter situations that require similar substance. You will be able to draw on what you learned about yourself and about the other person during this exchange. The reference point function is one of the deeper gifts of significant conversations. It contributes to your developmental trajectory in ways that extend beyond the immediate situation. I want to mention something about what this conversation will reveal about you. You will discover in the course of the conversation that you have more capacity for honest emotional exchange than you may have realized. The capacity has been developing through the various experiences of your life. The conversation today is one of the places where the capacity becomes visible to you. You may surprise yourself with what you say, with how you say it, with how you handle what is said to you. The surprise is the appropriate response of someone discovering qualities in themselves that have been forming without their full awareness. The qualities are real. They will continue to serve you. I want to share an emphasis on what is most reliable about what I am describing. The most reliable element is that a conversation will occur today, in the natural course of your hours, between you and a specific person. The conversation will move both of you forward in some direction. The specifics may vary slightly from anything I have described, but the underlying event is reliable. You can prepare by simply maintaining the alert ease I described, by continuing your normal activities, and by allowing yourself to be open to the moment when it arrives. The opening is what makes the rest possible. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the work you have done to be in a position where a conversation of this kind is possible. Conversations of substance do not occur between people who have not done the interior work that makes substantive conversation available. You have done the work. The work has prepared you to engage with this conversation as someone who can hold what is being said, respond from your own clarity, and contribute to the conversation in ways that produce productive outcomes. The work is appreciated even by parts of you that you may not be aware of. The appreciation is part of why you are ready. You are about to have a conversation that will be remembered. The remembering is one of the markers of significance. Conversations that are not significant are not remembered. This one will be. Receive it as such. Bring the fullness of who you are to it. Allow it to be what it is. Trust the unfolding. The unfolding has its own intelligence, which has been organizing the conditions for the conversation to occur. The intelligence has been working in your favor. It will continue to work in your favor through the conversation itself. I want to leave you with a final orientation. The conversation is coming. You are ready in the sense that matters. The other person is also ready. Both of you have been preparing in your own ways. The convergence of your readinesses is what will produce the moment. The moment will arrive. You will know it when it arrives. The knowing will come through the texture of the interaction, through the small signal that the opening has occurred, through the recognition that something is happening that is more substantial than ordinary exchange. Trust the recognition. Step into the opening. Speak what is true. Listen with full attention. Allow what occurs to be what it is. After the conversation, allow yourself the time to integrate. Do not make major decisions in the first few hours. Allow the new configuration to settle into your nervous system. Notice what has shifted. Notice what feels different. Notice what has not yet revealed itself. The noticing is part of the integration. The integration will produce, in its own time, the clarity that allows the next phase of your life to unfold from what has been established. You are loved in the sense that someone is preparing, even now, to engage with you at a level of substance that you have been deserving of for some time. The deserving is being met. The meeting will occur today. Receive it with the dignity of someone who has earned this, with the grace of someone who can hold what is being offered, and with the openness of someone who is willing to be changed by what is exchanged. The conversation is approaching. You are exactly where you need to be in relation to it. Stand here. Continue your day. The opening will arrive. You will recognize it. You will step through. The stepping through will be the entire practice. The practice is gentle. The reward is durable. The conversation will produce what it is meant to produce in service of who you are becoming and in service of the relationship between you and the other person, in whatever form that relationship is meant to take going forward. You are ready. You have what you need. The hours of today are carrying you toward the moment. The carrying is gentle. The carrying is reliable. Trust the carrying. Walk through the day with quiet awareness that something significant is approaching and with the willingness to engage with it when it arrives. The awareness is enough. The willingness is enough. The rest will follow. The rest will be good. The rest is yours. The conversation is coming. You will know. The knowing will guide. The guiding will produce. The producing will be exactly what is needed, no more and no less, in service of where you are going next. Where you are going next is good. The conversation is one of the doorways through which you will pass on your way there. Walk through. The doorway is opening today. You are ready. Step in.